I'm hoping that what we're doing here today at Santa School is showing people what they can do and that they can do it magically.
The fun and the joy and the love and the magic will never change, has never changed and will never change.
So we created these masks, which, as you can see, they're red velvet with white fur trim, just like Santa's costume. We've made a feature of a mask, and I think a child will feel comfortable with that, because I think we underestimate just how used to masks we all are. Secondly, there's the social distance grotto. So it's moving the furniture around slightly, so that Santa and the child are slightly further apart. Very easy to do. To make a child 2 meters away from Santa does not in any way take away from the magic. As long as you do it beautifully and make it look great, it should be absolutely fine. And we can obviously advise with that. And then thirdly is the giving the present. At the end of every meeting with a child, Santa gives children a present. And we need to make sure that can be done without Santa actually having to hand the present to the child. So we've created an ingenious method using a sleigh in which Santa puts the present on a sleigh, the child pulls a little string and pulls their present towards them.
We're in prison.
Welcome to the real world, not a minute too soon, I might add.
And kind of felt that everybody needed a new sense of identity, a new sense of individuality, and this kind of helps you with that.
I thought like, wow, I can't even believe that they're gonna milk the pandemic. But then when I came into the store, I'm kind of glad that I did because it was really awesome in there.
I'm ecstatic that I actually have customers, people that are here. On the same hand, I'm sympathetic towards the plight that we're going through, the fact that they actually have to be here. If you would have been telling me I would have been doing this a year ago, I would have never believed you. This has become the new norm for society, the new norm for every day. And if that is the case, I want to make sure that you're safe and that you're healthy.
Check out your New World Order prom. I can't play the music for you, of course, because I tried and already got a copyright strike for that one. Didn't affect the channel, thank goodness, but I was using so-called YouTube-approved music. And yet, boom. Apparently they didn't want you to see this. So I'll just go ahead and mute the video and play it anyway. Or, mute the sound on this particular clip. So you can see it for yourselves. You can put your own music to it in your own head if you like, or play it in the background at your place. But you get the point. I'm at a loss for words on this one. I really am. Like this guy says, wow, crazy. This is 2020. After this so-called great reset, this is what we're looking at. Like I said, lost for words here on this one. Found it on Twitter as I was researching other things and just happened to come across it. So I'll put the link in the description.
Yeah, frankly, I am freaked out, Brian, and I think you guys know why. If you've ever been down here to Meadows Mall and have been to Hotel Fear or the Asylum, you understand my pain right now. Now, earlier in the show, I was looking for a tour guide because Dr. Vander, who's supposed to run this joint, he's no longer with us. He's that right there. So I found him, Rich, who actually designed this place, and I think you're the guy. I think you can take me around.
I think we can make it.
Can we make it safely, though?
You can make it. I have confidence in you.
Okay, so of course you guys have been named the best of Nevada, some of the best in the U.S. Why is that? Is it because this place actually feels real?
That's what I think. So our hallmark is that, you know, everything is realistic as we can be.
Drugs! What did they give you? Thorazine? Haldol? How much? How much? Learn your drugs. Know your doses. It's elementary.
I need to make a telephone call.
Telephone call? Telephone call? That's communication with the outside world. Doctor's discretion. Nah. Hey, if all of these nuts could just make phone calls, it could spread. Insanity oozing through telephone cables, oozing to the ears of all these poor, sane people, infecting them. Wackos everywhere, plague of madness.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
Our world has reached an agonizing milestone, the loss of 1 million lives from the COVID-19 pandemic. It's a mind-numbing figure. Yet we must never lose sight of each and every individual life. They were fathers and mothers, wives and husbands, brothers and sisters, friends and colleagues. The pain has been multiplied by the savageness of this disease. Risks of infection kept families from bedsides, and the process of mourning and celebrating a life was often made impossible. How do you say goodbye without holding a hand, or extending a gentle kiss, a warm embrace, a final whispered, "I love you"? And still there is no end in sight to the spread of the virus, the loss of jobs, the disruption of education, the upheaval of our lives. We can overcome this challenge, but we must learn from the mistakes. Responsible leadership matters, science matters, cooperation matters, and misinformation kills. As the relentless hunt for a vaccine continues, a vaccine that must be available and affordable to all, let's do our part to save lives. Keeping physical distance, wearing a mask, washing hands. As we remember so many lives lost, let us never forget that our future rests on solidarity, as people united and as United Nations.
Could it be Satan?
My orders are sa police pati military, pati mga barangay, shoot them dead. Kung gusto ninyo ng barilan, di sige. Gusto ninyo ng pukpukan, sige. I will not hesitate. Let this be a warning to all.
ਅਸੀਂ ਸਮਾਜ ਦੇ ਦੁਸ਼ਮਣ ਆ ਅਸੀਂ ਘਰੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਬੈਠ ਸਕਦੇ
No se ve más hoy, calla vos, ale. No se ve más hoy. 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 No se ve más hoy.
A warning today about Halloween masks for kids.
And medical reporter Liz Bonis shares what the CDC is saying could lead to some scary health concerns.
Hey everybody, hello to you. We all want kids to have a happy Halloween, but the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention does have an important warning for parents about masks in this pandemic. They are warning that kids should not wear a costume mask over a cloth mask. The reason for the concern is that for some children, the double mask could interfere with breathing. What they suggest instead is making a Halloween-themed mask from cloth, so one mask does both. In many cases, traditional masks can also limit visibility for kids, so they suggest this year just a COVID protective mask that covers nose and mouth, the safest thing for kids. They also warn that costume masks are not substitutes for the protective face masks against COVID. It is estimated those fashion masks, as they're often referred to, only block about 5% of airborne particles, according to those who make protective masks. Now, that's why many hospitals and healthcare settings suggest that masks have a double layer like this one for face coverings.
So this is the front, and this is the back, or the inside, and I sew the strips to the inside so that this can go over your nose, and this can go over your chin.
Now, the CDC making these mask recommendations for kids no matter what type of gathering or celebration, whether it's a small party or outdoor trick-or-treating. I'm medical reporter Liz Bonis. We'll throw it back to you.
All right, Liz, thank you.
Eğer vaka sayıları hasta sayılarının ortalama ne kadar üstünde, bunun verisini verebilir misiniz? Teşekkürler.
Teşekkür ediyorum. Bir daha söylüyorum.
The government has extended the state of emergency until the end of January 2021. The latest extension was going to expire on the 15th of October. What it means is that all anti-COVID measures that have been in place up until today will be extended as well. That's the latest government's response to the recent increase in the number of new infections. We know that yesterday the country reported over 3,000 new infections just in a few hours. That's the largest single-day increase in the number of cases ever reported since the end of the initial peak, although figures are still much lower than in other countries. Now, the government as well from today has introduced the obligation to wear face masks at all times, both indoor and outdoor, and actually people who don't comply with that measure might be fined between 400 and 1,000 euros. The government is also planning to introduce and approve a new decree on the 15th of October with a new set of rules. In particular, the government has been negotiating with every single region about those measures, and in fact regions will be required actually not to relax any of these measures. Only stricter rules will be considered acceptable. But the biggest news really is that anyone coming, and that's going to happen from the 15th of October, anyone coming from countries such as the UK, Holland and Belgium will have to get tested once they arrive here in the country. These are the latest additions to an already existing group of 4 countries, Greece, Croatia, Spain and Malta. We know that people already arriving from those places have to get tested when they arrive in the country.
We recognize that returning the child to our nursery can cause anxiety, and we want to provide you with clear understanding of our modified practices and procedures. We have strictly followed the guidelines of the authorities in UAE, and we have adapted our environment to implement the highest procedures of hygiene and sanitization practices. Some of this practice in place, we are asking one of the family members to wait in the pickup and drop-off area while our nurse completes the screening process. We continue to take the temperature for the child of every individual upon arrival in the outdoor building. We are asking one of our bubble members to take the children to the indoor area in the building to minimize any further contact from outside the center after sanitizing their belongings and taking off their shoes. We also clearly have posters for social distancing in place to ensure that every individual clearly understands the idea of social distancing measures. Cleaning, sanitizing, and disinfecting takes place continuously. In line with this, we have introduced our bubble system. Each age group will be allocated a color based on his group. Educators are required to wear personal protection equipment to reduce the risk of contagion and transfer for the safety of both children and educators. 2 tubs have been placed in each area in the nursery, with clear labeled to separate the clean and dirty used toys. Lidded bins have been placed in all classrooms, marked for general and biomedical waste. When children are sleeping, we are maintaining a 1.5 meter of distance and try to name the bed, bed spaced apart in line with the guidelines, and alternating head up foot, top and tail systems, so more distancing. Tables and chairs are effectively cleaned as per healthcare regulations and guidelines. We also have implemented a higher level of hygiene practices with the children. Age-appropriate lesson plans help our children understand their new world and their need to stay distant from their peers. We continue to work and play in small groups, using fun ways to teach physical distancing in the outdoor environments. Some of our sensorily areas, like water and sand tables, and some sandboxes remain closed during this time. However, we have some practices to provide children with an opportunity for sensorial play by using individually marked materials that are sanitized or discarded after each use. Some things may look different moving forward, but some things will never change. Above all, the quality of care that you will come to expect from us. Our nursery director is always available to answer any questions you may have. We cannot wait to hear more laughter in our classrooms. Welcome back.
Photos with Santa could look just a little bit different this year due to coronavirus. Brookfield Properties is the second largest mall operator in the country. It says this year 134 of its more than 150 malls will have a, quote, touchless experience with Santa. That means no sitting in Santa's lap, and masks are going to be required where local and state laws ask for them. There will also be social distancing stickers to show people where to stand while waiting in line. Some other malls are going with Santa Zoom calls instead. Others are having a Santa in a giant snow globe or behind a giant picture frame to add a layer of distance with guests. Katie Johnston for CBS Local News.
Then, upon reaching computer lessons after 6 more years in a final conditioning school, each happy, healthy individual will go forth to take up his or her predestined place in the greater society, dedicated to ensuring the continuing perfection of community, identity, stability.
Everything's there you could want. And anything you want, you can have. Anything.
Because gray is the nicest.
How lucky to be a Delta and get to wear blue.
Too stupid and not too bright.
So glad to be a Beta. Beta still? How lucky to be an Alpha. And if you're ever blue, wonderful pills that never make you feel bad afterwards like the mezcal here. And the people aren't evil and immoral.
Male Alpha Plus, Mark Bernard G. Inspected and approved.
I wish I could go there, Linda. Oh, I wish I could too. Everything's so perfect there.
How many goodly creatures there are here.
Yes, tomorrow night, I'm sure I can fit you in.
It's so seldom anyone visits the Savage Reservation. I rarely have the opportunity to show off our treasures.
Going off on vacation with Lenina, huh? Don't worry, you'll enjoy engaging her. I always do.
There was an ample supply of Soma, enough for everyone.
Lately, I've had this strange, troubling feeling that there must be something more I can write about, something different.
This Soma is bad. It's poison. It hurts you.
Please don't do that,
take
Mr.
any.
Savage. You know how distracting everything can be. Too many awards, too many girls, too much of everything.
You can never be free until you're free of Soma. Soma makes you into slaves. It robs you of everything magical and special within you. Don't you want to feel free? Don't you want to feel the blood coursing in your veins? Feel how you can be alive!
How beauteous mankind is. How brave new world.